Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Rachel, or you can call me Rad, and today I'm going to be doing some flip throughs comparing some pages in my 2021, 2022, and soon 2023 book bullet journals. And I think this is going to be so fun because my style has really evolved over the years and the way that I've designed these pages has changed. So I'm going to show you some of the similar spreads and style ideas from different years. So even just from this kind of opening spread, you can see 2021, I stuck a lot of stickers in. 2022, I kept it really simple, and I did the same thing for 23. Hopefully I get the years right as I go throughout this. If not, 2021, 2022, 2023. We'll just try to keep it in order like that. These journals are all from Archer and Olive, and I went with these. I think these are the A5 size. They have kind of a linen, great textured cover for the first 2 years, and then I upgraded to a square size. This is an 8x8 square. I don't even know what I've already gotten on it, and I'm really loving having more room to play. It's really fun. So Archer and Olive, I will have a link in the description. Okie dokie, here we go. So I have an initial kind of cover page here. I did the same thing. This one is a stamp that I used from my friend Modern Maker Stamps. I will link everything that I mention as much as I can. I will link in the description. So that is a stamp in the background. I use that on all of my cover pages throughout, which is a really fun element that I kept consistent. And then the labels that I used here are an embossed label maker. Really loved that look. And then for 2022, I went with a very different style, much more of kind of a vintage collaged scrapbook junk journal kind of a style. So I used a lot more elements that I had gathered from a variety of places like Michael's, even Shein, random sources, just accumulated over the years. For this upcoming year, I went more on the minimalist side. I used this stencil for the circles and then some stickers. I actually kept with a consistent sticker book throughout the year. This is the sticker book that I'm using. Again, I got this, I think, at either a Hobby Lobby or a Michael's. Okay. This is gonna be fun to keep opening and closing all of these. Okay, here is my index spread. I drew all of this on, and then this year I used Crayola super tip markers and a white gel pen. I did a lot of black in the background with white on top. My index page for 22 was fairly similar. I really like doing alternating lines. It helps just kind of break things up for my eye and makes it a lot easier for me to read. And again, just kind of added some other collaged elements. And for 2023, my index looks like this. I'm debating if I want to do the every other color line. I think I will want to do that, and I will probably go back in and add it. This year, the change that I made is I'm using Tombow markers instead of Crayola super tips. I really love these, and I just stick with the consistent color scheme throughout my journal. I like that these have two different ends. So you have a brush tip and then more of a small fine tip, so that's nice. The super tips just have one. Every year I do a reference spread or a reference page, and this helps me know what colors I'm using. I assign a different color for each of my star ratings. I kept the same color scheme for 2021 and 2022, which was really helpful. It really stuck with me, and these just locked into my brain, which was nice. So it was a pretty big deal, and you might have seen some of my TikToks and Instagram posts about my new color scheme for this year, because it was a big change up. Even though it's really not that different, it was just a pretty big shift for me to figure out a whole new color scheme for this year. You can't entirely tell on here, but it's more of shades of brown and greens, which matches more with this kind of brown cover. And then I picked a different selection of washi tapes. And the stickers I use, these little star stickers and these headphones and some other stickers, are from Alicia Marksit on Etsy. I will link her shop below. And these were the colors I used in the past 2 years. And again, I just kind of had a consistent swatch of washi tapes that I used throughout, and found that was a really fun way to keep things looking consistent. I did not use any washi tapes throughout 2021. I just drew everything and did a lot more with black. I did a Goodreads challenges spread in 2021. I have since moved this to my decade book bullet journal, which I have a whole separate YouTube about if you want to view that. But here is a page that is an all 3 journal. So this is my book goal for the year. I actually never finished filling this out for some reason, which is annoying because I read 203 books that year. So I probably should go back and actually finish this spread. But anyway, I just make boxes and color them in based on the star rating because, like I said, each of those colors is connected to a star rating. So that was what that page looks like. Because 200 didn't fit on a page, I kind of made this weird little flap of like a Dutch door, but not really. I don't like how this looks. It's kind of a weird attempt to figure out a solution. And different order here, but here is that spread for 2022. This was much more organized, but I really didn't like putting this in the center in the end because of how random the squares had to go all around it. That just didn't really look right, all things considered. So not my most favorite, but for 2023, here we go. Pretty clean and simple. Learn from your mistakes, people. Okay, another spread that isn't all 3 is my yearly statistics. Again, why did I not finish filling these out? I don't know. I get halfway through things and I just lose steam. It's a problem. It's in my ADHD brain. But this was a really simple chart and it helped me start to realize what types of things I was tracking and what types of things I was not tracking. Tracking the nationality of the author was more challenging than I expected, so I really didn't keep up with that. So when I went to do my yearly stats for 2022, I updated that. I really like how this looks. But what I did for 2023 was actually just flip putting the months and the categories on opposite axes. But I like how this looks so far. Pretty cute little things on the corners. And then for 23, here's what we've got. I really actually love the checkerboard of just coloring in every other square. It's super cute. Checkerboards are so trendy right now and I love them. So that looks really fun. And like I said, I just put the months down vertically, or I guess going horizontally, but in a vertical stack. You get the idea. And the categories across the top. So that's how that is looking. And I will just write the number in each little square. Okay, let's see what's next. Monthly reads. This was a little bit confusing the way that I tried to do it this year. I had made rectangles for each month and then tried to, I did break it down based on how many books fell under each rating. And as you can see, I had to create different breakdowns for how many books I read each month. And it just didn't always look really even because some months had way more books and I didn't always divide it up really well. So that was not my most favorite design. So I updated it for 2022 and just made each box have a color where I wrote the number in, which is fine. I don't love it, don't hate it. It's an interesting idea, I guess. But what I'm going to do for this year is actually just have a simple column where I write in the number and then at the very end of the year, I will total it up and put it in the circles across the top. So I think that'll just be a much more simple way of tracking my monthly ratings. Next up, I have a genre tracker and then my 5-star favorite spread where I print out photos from the book covers. Genre tracker is something that I learned from 2022. It does not work for me. I did not keep up with it at all. I started for maybe part of January and did not keep up with it. It just was not working for me. And I really don't think I finished this one either. So I did not put that in 2023. 5-star favorites I did keep and love pasting in the book covers. I think it's really fun. And I will put up a full YouTube of how I do that, but I have some TikToks and Instagram reels up already of how I print my book cover photos. Everything I learned, I know from Booksta and Bujo. Allie was the first person I saw that did this, and she really inspired me. I've since kind of found out a better process that works for me, but her teaching is what inspired me to do that. So for my 5-star favorites, I just have drawn out the rectangles for where I will paste those in for 2023. And I kind of just calculated based on past years about how many 5-star favorites I read in the year. If I end up having more than this, I can always paste in a page over and kind of create a Dutch door later. Wow, okay, great. All right, the next thing that is in every one of these is halfway top 12 and a yearly top 12. This is a fun little way of organizing 12. I believe for this year, yes, I did just do 10, which I think is what the actual hashtag is that I was seeing most people actually use. So I kind of just did a stair step because that's how 10 laid out on a page really well. I have not actually put in my top 10 for the year, but they will go right there. And for 2023, I will do 12, and I just drew out 2 different spread ideas for that, for a halfway and for the whole year. Feel free to just obviously pause on any of these if you want to see anything further. I will keep a log of books I read by BIPOC authors, and I did that in here as well. Again, coloring every other line just helps my eye to see it all differently. I tracked the number, the title, / the author, and the rating. Same thing here. And over here, I am not going to put the rating in this log because I will do it in my main book log. So I don't need to put the rating like every time I write the book out. So I'll just write the name and the author, or the title and the author. But I will have that list, and I think it takes up 3 pages with room for more. Here's some other book idea or page ideas that just I haven't really kept up with or didn't really work for me. I had a list of 21 books I wanted to read in 2021. They were just kind of random books that I had picked. I did do that again in 2022 and just had a list of 22, but I'm not doing that again for 2023 because I really didn't read all of them. And I have other reading challenges I'd rather focus on. At the end of the year, I picked 12 faves for fiction and 12 faves for nonfiction, and I will go in and put those in here at some point in some place. I don't think I have a space designed for that yet, but I will add them before the year comes. Yep, here we go. I just kind of put apparently ripped Post-it notes to mark where I want to add those. And let's see, some challenges. This will be fun to see the difference of. I have a rad reading challenge spread. This is a reading challenge I create a different version of for every year. And then an alphabet reading challenge. This is just very simply to read a book that starts with each letter of the alphabet. So for 2022, the way that I did that looks like this. So here's my rad reading challenge spread. I actually did 2 pages because I was planning to track if I had blogged some recommendations for each prompt, and then if I had posted about them on Bookstagram and Book Talk, but I didn't keep up with this, so noted. But I did track pretty similarly here and here. I just haven't finished this reading challenge yet. I need to get on that because the month is almost over, which means the year is almost over. So for 2023, this rad reading challenge looks like this, and I will paste in the book covers here. I don't love the way this handwriting with the gel pen on the white looks over the gray. I wish I'd done that differently, but I didn't know it was going to look like that. So that's not my favorite, but oh well. The alphabet reading challenge in this year just looks pretty simple. Not too different from this, actually. And then 2023, it looks like that. I'm thinking here it might actually be fun to do like a number reading challenge of books that have like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 and see how high up I can go with having a number in the title like I do with having a letter in the title, or starting with each letter. I think that could be kind of fun. So I might do that on this page here. But alphabet reading challenge is always just a fun, simple one. The book of the month challenge is a little bit different every year on their app. So this year it was Book Boss, Genre Genie. That's always hard for me to say, Genre Genie, and then Debut Darling. And then I tracked if I partnered with them or got my own box. I think I kept the same topics or prompts here, but then when I realized I looked in the app for 2022, the prompts had actually changed. So I should have waited a little bit longer to see what their updated prompts were. So I have not put that into 2023 yet, but I do have a spread saved here for where I will add that once they release their prompts. And over here, I'll just list all the books I get from Book of the Month. I did the unread shelf challenge for the last 2 years. I'm still debating if I'm going to do it for 2023. I'm thinking I won't, but it's really fun. They have a bingo, and then I wrote the list of the books that I read to correspond with each bingo square. And I did the same over here. Pretty similar. It's just kind of fun to see side by side the style shift from this more kind of minimalist black and green to the more collaged kind of vintage style. Curious to hear which one you end up liking more in the comments. These were the same prompts listed out from over here. And then I had book clubs, backlists, and series. I ended up moving these over to my decade book bullet journal because they are clearly things that I cannot finish doing in a year. But I really liked tracking these, so it was good inspiration and content for me to track. I just put them in my book bullet journal, or in my decade book bullet journal. So there's a whole other video of that on my YouTube channel, so go ahead and check that out if you're curious. These were some new ideas. The Major Weeper and Couples I Loved, I did for the first time in 2022. And I actually did keep those in for next year with a more simple design, but just a list of books that made me cry, which is Major Weeper. If you know that movie, comment below. And then Couples I Loved. I'm also going to track my social media growth on these 3 columns for Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. I had a couple other reading challenges for 2022. I did a Reading Everybody Black challenge. Have not finished that, but I will likely carry it over. 20 books by Black women. I'm so close. And then the 12 challenges is those books that 12 different friends picked. I did not actually feel very motivated to read these, so I will not do that again for this year. Sorry to my friends. Here's my attempt at tracking my book talk growth. I just made these boxes too big of increments, so it wasn't as fun to track it that way. Same thing for Bookstagram. Okay, so then when we get into tracking by month, here is how that looked in these different years. So every year, you all probably know this about me if you follow me on Instagram, but I take a picture of my books that I read for that month stacked up. This is very motivating for me, super inspiring, really keeps me reading. So I take that picture at the end of the month and paste it in at the very beginning. And then I started at 2021 tracking the stats here, but I found that I was putting them here and then also in the beginning, kind of in that monthly or yearly stats page. So it didn't really make sense to have it in 2 places. So I stopped doing this. And then in 2021, I would put the book cover, the rating and stickers, and my review. I didn't end up loving having to put the full review in my journal because I was already putting it on Instagram, putting it on my blog, putting it on my Goodreads, putting it on my Storygraph. So it was just too many places to put the same review. So I have actually stopped putting the full review in my journals. You can see here that I really don't, but there's a little bit of space if I want to write some sort of a note, but most of the time I really don't put a note at all by the books. So I'm trying to figure out if I want to do anything next to those in the future for 2023 or not. Unsure. But you can see it evolved a little bit. And then in 2021, I did the fun little kind of recap at the end of the month. I definitely want to go back to doing more of that. I love seeing the stats and the data broken down. I just didn't really continue that in 2022, but I wish I had. So I'll bring that back. So here's a couple more. I'll just flip through. For 2021, here's how everything looked. Again, there was a stats page at the beginning, book by book with the rating and the review. And I didn't always, I guess, put this stats pages or that data at the end. And this is where I started to lose steam on copying all the reviews in here. It's a bit of a theme with me that I don't always finish what I start. So there's that. There's a lot that's half finished in here, isn't there? Yikes. Okay, so that's the rest of 2021. And then 2022 is a lot simpler. The pages really just have the book and the rating. And you can see here, there's a couple times I wrote something, but not very often. Oh, this page I messed up and wrote October, so I had to cover that up. That's why there's a little bit more. There we go. Pretty cute. Almost done. And then something I've always done for these last 2 years is at the very back of my journal, I've written just an entire log of all the books. So I moved this, as you kind of saw in 2023, but the book, the author, or title, the author, and the rating. I just really like having that full list. And I did that in the back of 2022 as well. So just a list of literally everything I read that year. the line is where I hit my reading goal. So everything after that was extra. I actually moved that up in my journal for 2023 and put it kind of after my book goal. I just actually would write the list here. And then something else that I added after all of those pages is a list of the audiobooks and then a list of kid lit, because I love reading kids books and I think they're beautiful. So I want to track the ones that I actually read for this year. And then I'll have the list of the books I read by BIPOC authors right after that. So it's nice for me to have all of these pages kind of together in one place, as opposed to having some things at the front and then that one section at the very end. What I have not designed yet is how I will track my monthly reviews for 2023. I just created kind of the cover page for that, but I will figure this out moving forward. But so far, that is the comparison of everything from 2023 to 2022 to 2021. I did have a book bullet journal in 2020 and 2019, but it was not at all to this level. It was a tiny old moleskin, and I really just wrote down the book titles, I'm pretty sure. So this is where the fun really began, was in 2021. And I've loved seeing my style kind of grow and evolve. There's parts of each of these that I really love and things that I wish I would have done differently about all of them. Even the one that I'm doing for next year, there's already some things that I wish I had changed, but I love doing this. These journals are so fun to create, and I would love to hear what you enjoyed seeing in the comments, what you want to see more of. And thank you so much for being here. Like and subscribe to see more. I definitely have a lot more content to show you about this upcoming journal, so stay tuned for that. And hope you found this one fun to see. Thanks for being here, y'all.